you know, it looked official, you know. And I used to walk down the street all the time to pick up a dog way down here by the river. And I for some reason was inclined to say, oh, is there something going on? Because people were, the drivers or security or whatever, were standing outside. And I was like, oh, is there something going on? Blah, blah, blah. They said, oh, well, Biden's in town for his daughter's birthday. They're having a brunch over at Park at the Rittenhouse. That's P-A-R-C. And I was like, oh my God, no way, you know. And by the looks of it, it appeared that she actually stayed in the Carlisle, or at least one of the edifices in that, you know, but they were parked and sort of hanging out all over the Carlisle. That's when he was a vice president back in, you know, but this would have been in the second term back then.
We have to go pick up from, we're having Thai food. Yeah, they are.
Anyway. God, they play the game so hard they mess everybody up. I could be right. So anyway, I have no idea what the game is, but I was told to say that. Anyway, so that day, supposedly he was in town to take his daughter to brunch for her birthday, and this would have been after 2012. It would have been closer to like 2013, 14, maybe 15, but I think it's in the 13, 14 category. We are quiet way over here. This is west of Rittenhouse Square. I'm on Locust Street heading west. We were briefly on South Rittenhouse Street, South Rittenhouse Square Street. I guess they just say South Rittenhouse Square, I guess, on the signs. And those are that's a little street that runs right in front of the southernmost end, you know, of Rittenhouse, and the homes and the high rises across the street on the south side. And then it stretches all the way to St. Patrick's Church, like one more block. And past the Ethical Society, a tiny little building. I always laugh, kind of, about the Ethical Society, only because it's so small. And it's like, well, this is a really tiny building. It's smaller than most, you know, average people's homes here in Philadelphia. So it's there for a reason, to have a presence, and to remind people that there's supposed to be ethical. So and you can rent that venue out, or like, I don't know how it works. I don't know if they do free situations where you can say, can I hold my event here? So they have all kinds of various folks who get that space for their event, both ethical and non-ethical. To see what happens, I guess. Okay, so that's what I'm told. Corgi in the house, right? So Queen Elizabeth had corgis, and of course a million people showed up with corgis leading up to her demise, you know, in the past year or two. I guess like 2 years ago she might have passed away, and then King Charles, you know, was anointed and all that stuff. So that is the royal dog. You know, they're actually totally awesome dogs. So I took care of one. I was like, oh my God, they really are. They're so lovable. And don't let looks fool you. If you're someone who doesn't like squatty dogs or what have you, I was in shock how, you know, awesome their energy was. It's hard to explain. And they're usually they're feisty, but fairly good dogs. Technically really good for the city because they're on the smaller side, and they can be, you know, if you have larger dogs, unless you have a really big space, you know, it could be a little crunchy for big dogs. But corgis are totally cute and awesome. Be sure to check out Hammy and Olivia. Olivia passed away, but this is on YouTube, and they got a new dog, Fiona, to replace Olivia. So Hammy and Olivia, and they had a party here in on the outskirts of Philadelphia. It was in Manayunk, which is still considered Philadelphia, but it's really like slightly northwest of the city. You'd have to drive there. Like, you can't walk from you could, but it would be like a major hike and everything. So Anyway, they called it the Chonk Fest, and everybody brought their dogs. You didn't have to have a corgi to go, but it was, you know, like a corgi party. So anyway, Hammy and Olivia, and he partnered with Maxine the corgi from New York. I think they're New York based. He and his wife just had a baby, so they hooked up and had this Chonk Fest. It looked, you know, almost looked like the Hoagie Fest for a while. They sort of went with the same design as the Hoagie Fest, which I forgot. I'm wondering if the Hoagie Fest is still on, if I missed it. I don't really eat meat, so, you know, back in the day I would have stopped in for a shorty for $5 or whatever. The only thing I would get in every like 2 or 3 years, I'll get a tuna sub. That's about it. Actually, it's been like 4 years since I've had tuna fish. So last time I had tuna fish was at my mom and aunt's, just because it was available and they ate normally. All right, so what am I doing here? We could do the walkway, but sometimes I just ramble on. So head on out to the walk here. This is 5th Street. So that street there, which kind of curves up. There we are. Now remember, that FMC building has 46 floors livable. They have the AKA extended stay, which goes up to floor 46. I don't know if offices go up to floor 46, but I kind of don't think so. 46 president, of course, Biden. I don't know what to say. I know I took care of 2 cats and a dog in the FMC building. The dog was on the 46th floor, you know, like 46th president, and which is Biden, or who is Biden. They were in extended stay, and there was some activity going on in that building. It's hard to explain. We're going this way. Let's just say there was a morning when I needed to walk the dog on the top floor, and they were testing the elevators. So luckily I had gone up on the elevators and I couldn't get back down. I was stuck, and I was like, oh my God, you know, why don't they do this, say, in the wee hours of the morning when very few people would actually be, you know, walking around or anything, or going in and out of the building. So I walked down I guess I finished the dog. I must have finished the dog walk, because I didn't take. So are we going this way? So anyway, I must have finished the dog walk. So I finished the dog walk. I get all the way up to the 46th floor, couldn't get back down. I walked down all the steps from the 46th floor, because there was no, you know, that was the only way back down, because they were testing the elevators. So I think of stuff like, can't they do this like at, say, 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, when most people would not be needing to access the elevators?